Hey guys, yeah, it's been a while since I've been able to put anything up on the channel, and that's due predominantly to the lockdown because of the COVID virus pandemic. But I thought I'd take the opportunity just to do a little video because I've been putting on a lot of little big man shield transfers of late on some miniatures as I'm getting ready to play a bit more of Infamy, and Hail Caesar, and maybe Impetus, whatever. And in the process of putting on shield transfers, I came across a problem that seems to be, I won't say fairly common, but it comes up every now and then. And that issue is in regards to little big man shield transfers that you might get a sheet of them and they don't really perform, or you can't use them the way you would like to. In short, little big man shield transfers are essentially what you have is you have a sheet of transfers, decals, what do you call them? We'll call them transfers. And that consists of basically a protective plastic sheet over the decal with the transfer, and then a paper backing. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. On top of the transfer, there's a plastic protective layer, then the decal itself, and then the paper backing. The way you apply that basically is you cut the shield, the transfer out precisely along the lines of the transfer. You peel the backing, the protective sheet off. You then stick, and once that plastic sheet's off, you have a sticky surface on the transfer. You then apply the transfer to the shield, and then you wet the back of the transfer with water and it just peels off. But occasionally what happens if you get some decals that are, have been in storage for a while, then you won't, the plastic protective sheet won't come off. And the problem is then, as generally speaking, most people will then go, well, these are useless, I can't use them. I have it on good authority that if you get in contact with the Little Big Man Studios and say, look, I've got some decal or transfers here and they don't work, they'll send replacement ones. But if, like me, you purchased some transfers at a bring and buy, and so I purchased these ones, for example, and about 4 other sheets at a second-hand stall, bring and buy type thing at a War Games convention, and got home to discover that I couldn't peel them off. Well, good news. I figured out one way that you might still be able to get some service out of them. Now, and I'll just briefly discuss how I do that. Essentially what I do, I cut the transfer out. I then apply white glue, PVA glue to the shield. I then soak the transfer that I'm going to put on the shield and remove the white paper backing. And then what's left, which is the transfer and the protective plastic film, and I glue that to the shield. Now, I've found that this process, which I will demonstrate here, works best on a flat surface. Here are some shields that I did this with, and they're pelter shields or cello type shields. And as you can see, because it's flat, oh, look at my thumb, it goes on perfectly fine. This is a Victrix light infrared shield, and ideally you should use it that way. But what I've done is I've actually turned it around, because this is a dead flat surface on the other side, and I put it on that side. and obviously it's got to be painted and touched up, and then I'll attach it to the miniature. So this process best works on a flat surface. Now there's one that I've used where the transfer was, let's call the sheets that are we don't have a problem with a good sheet. That's one from a good sheet, and this is one from a bad sheet. And I think you'll agree that the results are, they work. So how do I do it? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you how I go about putting on just a little big man shields transfer using a good set of decals, ones that are not the problem ones, the ones that you could just, you normally you buy them, they'll turn up, and generally speaking you won't have any problems with them. First thing you do is you've got to paint the shield that you're going to apply the transfer to, or the decal to. You've got to paint it white. Okay, so here's my white shield, and I'm going with applying a shield decal or a shield transfer for a Roman early imperial auxiliary. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is you have to cut out around the actual shield. All right, so now make sure that, now this is a must, good quality small scissors. Okay, yeah, but they've got to be good ones, and they've got to be nice and sharp. Okay, if you have a problem with this, get an adult to help you. Okay, so essentially it's just a matter of cutting right around the edge of the decal. Now all I do is I just basically I just twist the decal on the blade whilst pushing, and so you get a Now, the little plastic film that's on the top of the sheet, as you can see, it just peels straight up. You peel that off, and you'll end up having these things sticking all over the place, but throw them away. And then it's just a matter of positioning the decal, the sticky side down onto the shield. Press it down firmly. Now some people will use, and I'll just rub it. Don't rub too hard. I just make sure it sticks all over, and then just apply some water. And you can be generous with this. It's not going to matter that much. And then it will just peel straight off. And there you go. So there you have the plastic layer on top of the transfer. I don't know if you can see that, but it's there. And then the white backing when you've taken it off. And you just apply it. And there's your shield transfer applied. Now, what do you do when you have ones that you just can't peel the side off? Now, as I've discussed, your options, send them back to, I think the guy who owns Lbm is Steve something, but apparently, by all accounts, he's a really nice guy, and if you tell him you've got an issue, he'll change them or swap them or whatever. But here's the thing, the situation I have, I put these at a second-hand, like a bring and buy, and I think the person I bought them off must have had them in his, tucked away somewhere for, 5 or 6 years or something, I don't know. Anyway, so this is one way you can get around by still putting them to use. I'm not going to pretend it's ideal, but here's one I did earlier. So you can see it's got a bit of a shine to it because, well, you'll see why in a minute. But this is a very simple one. It's just got the little Macedonian stars either side, but you know, there it is. The way I did it is, first of all, I get the sheet that I'm going to work with, and let's use this one here. And just like any of the normal decals, you just simply cut it out. Now, the thing with this is you actually don't have to cut it exactly, because you just basically want the bulk of the transfer. These ones are for these ones are for the Victrix kit, but I'm putting them on a metal shield that I happen to have. I have applied them. I have used this method for a Victrix shield, and it's worked fine. But I'm just going to show you how I do it with this one. All right. You'll get the idea. The bottom line is you cut it out like as you normally would, but obviously you haven't peeled the plastic off, because you can't peel the plastic off because it's just not playing the game. All right. All right, so there you've got your shield. Now, because it's a Scudum, it's got the central bit, you've got to have to cut it in half. Isn't this thrilling viewing, folks? Now, normally you would peel off the plastic, but you can't peel off the plastic because it won't come away. So dispense with that and just soak it straight away into some water. So you just soak it straight away, and then you just peel the paper straight off the back. Okay, now bear in mind, it goes, when you put it on, you're going to be putting it on like that, but the back comes off. So you've got basically the decal and the protective plastic cover on. Then what I do, and like I said, this has worked for me. I use some white glue. Now I just use this stuff here, but any PVA glue, generally speaking, will work. And then I apply the white glue to the shield. Then it's simply a matter of applying the decal straight on, and you're gluing it on with white glue. So that's that side done. Really press it down hard. Make sure it's on. And you've got to be generous with the white glue. Let's try the other side. Some people call it white glue, some people call it PVA glue. The bottom line is it's, as long as it dries clear, that's all that matters, I guess. So that's why I use this craft glue. All right. So again, soak it. The paper comes off. It leaves you the plasticky decal.
There you go. Now, the only downside is it is a bit glossy, because obviously you've got the plastic protective part to the sheet of the sheet still on the transfer. But I think you can see it still gives a pretty good result. Now the trick is you've got to let it dry, and then once it's dried, you just touch it, pull at the edges to make sure that it actually has stuck. And if it hasn't, just get a fine paintbrush with a bit more white glue, put it under the sides where it's lifted off. That just came off because of my big, ridiculous hands pouring at it. And just stick it down. Now I've done a few of these and it does work perfectly fine. You get a pretty good result. And I've even at times coated it with the white glue after I've let it dry. I also put a coat over the top with the white glue and then let that dry as well. Another option is just spray it with some dull coat, or some kind of lacquer, and then make sure you hit it with dull coat or whatever. And that's the result you get.
Okay, guys, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you just take two, show you again how I do it, just so you might be able to see it a little bit clearer now, because initially when I filmed this, I did it just by myself, but maybe now with my son Michael holding the camera, you might be able to get a clearer idea or better picture of what it is that I'm doing. And furthermore, the other thing I should apologise ahead of, you'll hear this whirring sound in the background. I've got a 3D printer and it's going overtime at the moment, so apologies for the annoying sound of the printer. All right, so this is how I cut out the decal. So basically, I'm just now, because this is not being used on a Victrex shield, but rather on just I think they're Crusader miniatures ones. I'm not worried about cutting it exactly along there and up and around. I'm just going to cut it so that I get the basics of the decal. If you're wondering how I'm doing this with two hands, I've got my boy Michael holding the camera for me. He's such a big help. Right, so, dropped my brush. All right, so, first thing we do is we get some white glue and we apply the glue liberally to the shield all over. Obviously not the spine and the boss, but we're just going to apply it to the shield, essentially everywhere on the face of the shield. Now, the less concave the shield you're using, I think this is the better, but I have done it on more concave surfaces, and this method still works. So, apply the white glue that's going to dry transparent. Apply that first, and fairly generously. Then, take the shield decal together with you've got the plastic cover, the decal, and the white backing. Simply soak it. And it's going to go with the plastic bit down first, so the white bit comes off. It still leaves the plastic cover on the decal. So we apply that to the sticky shield.
Same, take the decal, soak it in the water, slide the white backing off. Try to get as much of the water off as you can. Don't have, because it doesn't really matter that much because, well, it's PVA glue anyway. And then you just slide that on. And press down firmly. And leave to dry. And as you can see, excuse my hands, it seems to work perfectly fine. Continue to use them, even though it's a little bit unconventional and might not be the way that you would use them traditionally. But yeah, okay, so here's 8 that I've done, and I think you can see that the results are fairly good. They're a bit of a shine on them, but like I said, you know, if that bothers you, a little hit of dull coat and problem solved. But yeah, it certainly beats taking, you know, a sheet. You know, I think these are like, I think they retail at £4 for a sheet, which is about $8 Australian, which I guess is about $6.50 US. I don't know, but anyway, the thing is, you can recover them. Okay, so it's been 1 day since I put this on, and you can see it's pretty well attached. It's not coming off, and yeah, works fine. And these are all the ones that I've done by salvaging a bunch of transfers that just simply you know, the plastic covers just would not come off them. So anyway, if that helps you continue to use some LBM little big man transfers that are being uncooperative, then that's great. And I'm really sorry about that buzzing sound in the background. That's my 3D printer going, guys. Sorry about that. That's my little video on little big man studio transfers and recovering ones that have gone bad, gone rogue on you. You shouldn't have a problem, generally speaking, if you buy them new. I haven't had any problems with any new bought transfers. The only ones I've had problems with are ones that I've bought that have been sitting on a shelf somewhere, obviously, or, you know, they haven't been stored correctly, or they're just very, very old. But LBM Studios, Little Big Man Studios transfers, really, I mean, the issue, the thing I like to say about Ancients in 28mm, it's all about bases, faces, and shields. So if you get the bases right, and you get the faces right, and you get the shields right, then, you know, your miniatures look awesome. And when it comes to shield transfers, I'm pretty confident you can't go past Little Big Man Studios. They really are. I mean, and the variety is just amazing. So anyway, guys, that's all for now. And as Ginger would say, like, share, and subscribe. Next video, hopefully we'll be back with a battle report and continuing with our latest pint size campaign. That's all for now, guys. Yibakway.